This computer. Okay. Hey guys, it's William here. Got a good friend today. Got Melissa here. I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name is Melissa Darling. I do development real estate in the Caribbean at this moment. Um, I'm making a little bit of a transition in my career as well, where I'll probably be doing more projects that are sustainable, zero energy homes, things of that nature. But for right now, I'm in the Caribbean and doing development.
I love that. So, how did you get involved in the Caribbean? That's awesome.
Yeah, I honestly kind of fell into my lap. I'd say I kind of primed myself when I studied abroad in Argentina back in 2015. I like fell in love with Latino culture, and that's where I learned how to speak the language. And I just traveled from then on. And there was just like a very prominent moment in 2018 when I was in Colombia, where I was just like, there's just like this whole day. It was a beautiful day, and I just saw myself in the future like doing work of some sort in a Latino country. And so, yeah, it was, that was what before I was in like corporate at that point in time. And, I didn't know how it would transition over, but it kind of just flew naturally. But the stuff with Roatan, we've been going down to that island for like family vacations since 2016. My cousin lived and worked on the island at like an Airbnb. She was a property manager there for a family friend. And my parents bought land with our cousins and all this, we have like a little bit of a family complex down there now,
Nice.
but they ended up building at the end of 2020. So we went down for Christmas, saw the property for the first time, and then naturally I'm talking to the developer, and this is now when I'm in real estate, like full time, looking for deals. I'm also a licensed realtor, so I was like selling homes, looking for deals, all that stuff in Mass. And I just go down the island, I meet this developer, and we start talking, and then just things happen, and a deal fell into our lap, is discounted piece of land, and the energies were there. So we went for it. We built a house in 2021 last year.
I love that. That's so cool. I didn't realize that I guess you speak Spanish, you said?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's super helpful, I imagine.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It is. It's really cool.
That's awesome. So, a few icebreakers, and we'll kind of dive in just to shine the spotlight on you a little bit more. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Oh yeah, to fly. And just because I think heights are beautiful, and it's just an experience that you don't get to have every day. Just
For
go
sure.
where you want, no
Oh, yeah.
restriction.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. When people ask me that question, I also say like I'd like to fly. One would be to miss all the traffic here in Dallas. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I've got to go. Have you ever gone skydiving?
No, not yet. Actually,
Okay.
I'm in conversations with my boyfriend about like when are we gonna actually do it.
Yeah, y'all should. It's the closest thing you'll ever get to flying. It's awesome. Um, so if money was no object, what would your dream job be and why?
Honestly, well, I think it's kind of what I'm doing. So a little background story on me. I got involved in real estate late 2019, and that was like real estate license. And then like shortly after that, signed up for a development program called Fortune Builders, which teaches you how to invest in real estate. They give you the tools, the systems to grow and scale your business. They teach you how to like market for off market deals, what wholesaling is, all of the things. Uh, and that was really great. But like down that path, there was also like a lot of things that I was like feeling inside that was kind of stopping me from actually accelerating in the space. And so that's kind of when I dove into the self-development game. I did Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins 2 times in 2020. And
Okay.
then at the end of 2020, got the deal in Roatan. So 2021 was basically doing the deal. And in that deal, I had like some communication issues with my partner. There was a language
Hmm.
barrier, culture barrier, like all these things. And I was just kind of trying everything that I could do, but it wasn't resolving the situation. And so
Hmm.
inherently I was like beating myself up. And so I was like, okay, I need to like go deeper down this rabbit hole of self-development. And so I went to this self-development like retreat called the Hoffman process or the Hoffman Institute, which is like kind of diving into your childhood patterns. And it's just a really amazing experience. You have like a full week immersion, no phones, no technology, no energy,
Oh,
anything.
I love that.
So it was so good. I came out and I was like, wow, I am fully in touch with my feminine being, which I had never experienced before at that point, because I was like a student athlete my whole life, played soccer, throughout college and all this stuff. So very masculine in nature and also in teaching. I think that society also has like a very strong like masculine influence. And so finding that feminine energy within myself was like really amazing. So I did that, and then I took some time off, and I was like, the feminine doesn't necessarily, it's more flowing. It doesn't necessarily have like structured goals. It's not necessarily driven by money.
Hmm.
And so I was just in this weird state of like, wow, I just like did this deal and I made more money that I've made like ever in a year.
Yeah.
I'm like set for 3 years,
Uh,
realistically with how I spend money. And I was just like, where do I go from here? Like, what do I want to do? And I just took like 2 months off, did nothing. And I walked around telling my friends I was going to become a dancer because I like to dance and it's fun. And it was just like my little bit of time that I gave myself to kind of
yeah.
explore that I actually want to do outside of like the constraints of like seeking money. And I honestly, I tried to go back to work, but it's like inherently your old patterns still will kind of recycle. And I ended up going to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny in December of last year, which like kind of linked everything together because it's like the spiritual feminine now tied to like a more divine masculine, where
Hmm.
I can set goals and like like see my future within like business and stuff. And so this whole year has kind of been like a little bit of a development of me into who I am as like a person in life and where I see myself going and stuff. So the project I'm doing in Roatan right now really like was all for the growth. I made sure the numbers work, obviously, because I'm
Uh-huh.
for my investors. I want to give them, a good return, and
Oh
it's got to be
yeah.
their investment and stuff. But really, like this deal is for my own development at the core because like I'm hiring people, I'm figuring out the bottlenecks, I'm
Yeah.
managing the project, managing, all the contractors and all this stuff. And so it's a really great learning process, but yeah, I'm not motivated for the money. And then where I'm going future wise is also like more of a contribution value as opposed to like a money and significance value. So I think
Definitely.
honestly what I'm doing is what I would do if I had all the money. Uh, it would just be maybe I would, be a little bit more carefree of like
Uh-huh.
how I go about spending the money to build a business, or to
Yeah.
build the model and the marketing and all that stuff.
For sure. Yeah. And I love that. I think it sounds like you're just learning by fire. You're learning by doing the things and just kind of being fearless and taking those one step at a time. And I think for me, like I had ankle surgery earlier this year and I was bedridden for 2 months. And it was in those moments, like kind of going back to where you said you took a couple months off, like it was in that moment, it's like, man, like I was forced to slow down. And it was like all these distractions, all these things that have been getting in my way of like accomplishing my dreams and goals, they were kind of like stripped away.
Mhm.
So it's like, wow, like I'm able to like focus and like figure out like, hey, like this is where I need to go. And I love that. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool when you get time to like take a step back and just reflect on things. What ends up happening.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that's, man, if I could give advice to other people, I would say like everybody needs to take more time, like get rid of the phone, like set the phone aside. Like, for me, like I love to go hiking or camping, go out to the lake and just sit and relax, like just be present. And I find a lot of value in that. It's like doing less is actually like doing more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% agree.
So speaking of advice, what's some of the best advice that you've ever been given?
Oh wow. I don't. This is a good question. Honestly, maybe it's like a belief system that I was given from my father at a young age. Uh, that he basically said that I can do anything I set my mind to. And I don't know, maybe it's just the point in time that he said it to me. It was just like it stuck and it resonated. And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of shaped who I am a little bit. Where it's kind of like I just I just believe I can do it, you know.
Uh-huh.
And like there's always going to be the patterns that say you're not worthy, you can't do it, you're not good enough, whatever. But it's like I know I can though, so because it's been instilled in me. So yeah, that was probably the best learning, the best advice I've been
For
given.
sure. And I think like to add to that as well, it's like, hey, like, you know, sometimes it's like, hey, there's something I want to do, but like literally I can't do it, you know, by myself, you know, but it's like, hey, let's go join Race Masters, or, you know, let's start networking. Like, let's find people that we can help out and that can help us out as well.
Yes.
And I think we're both doing that right now.
Exactly. Like right now, specifically my business, I'm like, marketing, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
Like I have a vision. How do I create vision? You know, so I'm like, okay, I've identified this as like a piece that I need to, or I want, right? I like to focus on my language. The piece that I want to like kind of focus on going forward is how am I gonna, who is gonna help me solve that?
For sure. Yeah.
Right.
For sure. Love it. Okay. So last question for the icebreakers. What is one goal that you'd like to accomplish in the next 365 days?
Oh, goodness. Get all these units sold and closed on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. You got it. All right. So we're going to dive in a little bit more into some of your likes and some of your fondest memories. So what's your favorite food?
Ooh, that's really hard. I love beans.
Nice.
Like beans.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. What are some of the favorite things that you enjoy doing for fun and relaxing?
Oh, honestly, just sitting in the woods. Like I actually have a chair. Like we're on a
Okay.
farm right now, and we're surrounded by woods. I have a chair, like kind of right on the border of the woods. I was sitting in it for probably 4 hours today while I like did work or between work. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I like
You
to
got
go.
sounds like you got some good Wi-Fi then to get all the way to the chair.
I know it does connect to the laptop too. I usually have
Nice.
my iPad or something, but
Gotcha. That's
good.
funny. What are your top 3 favorite movies?
Oh goodness. I don't watch too much television, but when I do, I like it to be educational. Uh, I think I wrote to you that I was when I was younger, I used to always choose to watch The Scorpion King when we went on rides.
Uh-huh.
So that's a little bit funny, but nowadays it's mostly educational based, so like documentaries or something.
Nice. It sounds
Fantastic
like you're
Kiss the Ground. Those were two really good ones that I watched
nice.
recently.
I was gonna say it sounds like your parents had the cool car with the DVD player in it.
Oh yeah.
So where were you born? Where'd you grow up and where'd you go to college?
Born in Boston, Massachusetts, and I grew up just on the South Shore. It's a town called Weymouth. Very good town now, actually. And then I went to school at Brandeis University, which is in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Okay, nice. So you played soccer. Tell us a little bit about that. Sounds like you're pretty committed.
Oh yeah, soccer is a huge part of my life. Playing from the start of like age 5 until past college. So I did play on the varsity team at Brandeis, which is a Division III school. But we are in a very competitive league, which was really nice. We got to travel for all of our like in-league games. We went to like Chicago. We played Wash U, Carnegie Mellon in Ohio, NYU. There's somewhere we went in Georgia, Emory in Georgia. So we had a very good league. Post college, I continued to play like on co-ed leagues and stuff like that.
Nice.
And yeah, I actually gave up soccer last year.
No way. Oh man. Is it bittersweet?
More like kind of more spiritual things.
Gotcha.
Like I like to go in the woods, or I like to ride a horse where I feel like oneness and connection and stuff like that.
Definitely, for sure. Okay, so with that being said, what are some of your proudest accomplishments so far to date?
Honestly, the self-development that I've gone through, I think is something I'm really proud of, because I do think self-development work it's very personal, it's very vulnerable, and it's it's very personal. It's all within yourself, and you're the only person pushing you through it. And so the amount of growth that I can see, like in my day-to-day interactions, in like the person that I project outwardly, yeah, I'd say I'm like very proud of that, of my growth over the last like 2.5 years.
Awesome. Me too. Yeah, I would say like, personally in the last 2 years, I'm not the same person. The last year, like I come completely different. And then like in the last couple months, like there's even, it's just like, it's just rapid change, just like the way I think about things, like the way I talk to people and interact with people, like it's ever changing, it's ever growing. So that's cool.
Yeah. Even
Uh,
exactly what you said, like even the thoughts that you're thinking, like it just completely changes your perspective of life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I did some counseling. I sought counseling earlier this year, and I think that's like something I would recommend to everybody as well. But one of the things that my guy encouraged me to do is like, hey, like every day, like write 3 things that you're grateful for, and like that is a game changer. I don't always like do it right off the bat, but I do it almost every single day. And, it's just, I have so many things to be grateful for,
Oh,
even if like so many things are going bad, like I still got things to be grateful for.
yeah, as long as you can find the good with the bad, I think you're always in a good state. Like you're always in a good space. Never, not always in a good state, but always in a good space if you can be grateful for something at least.
Definitely. So, are you a person of faith? Are you a Christian? Tell me about that.
Okay, so I'm definitely a person of faith. I wouldn't necessarily tie to any specific religion. Because I do think like one of my things is I think language is kind of limiting. Um, and so obviously religion is based around like language in some sense. And it's always up to interpretation as well. So I read this really amazing book. I just finished it like maybe a couple of weeks ago, called A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And it's her interpretation of A Course of Miracles, which is basically, I don't know what A Course of Miracles really is. I'm just telling you by what I've heard kind of from other people that I've mentioned this book to and stuff. But I think it's like a journey you kind of go through, and like a reinterpretation of the Bible. It's very much in line with my spiritual beliefs, where I kind of like, for example, like heaven versus hell, that concept. Like you're in hell, like Marianne Williamson describes it in this book as you're in hell when like your dark side is taken over. So when like your intellect is like beating yourself up, when you're saying you're not worthy, when you're saying you're not good enough, when you're saying you should have done this or you could have done that, when you're not when you're not whole within yourself, that's kind of a moment of like hell. And then heaven is when you are in your divine spirit, you are loving of yourself, you are fulfilled within yourself, you believe that you are worthy, you know that you're worthy, and all these things. So it's like a different a little bit of a different interpretation of the religion. And I can't say that that is my religion. I just know like my spiritual practices are more like internal. And I think that they all kind of all overlap in different ways. It just depends on your perspective and how you take in the information.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm definitely like I'm a Christian, and that's like the most important thing in my life, and what I've come to realize is like Christianity at its core, it's like believing in like one God, like one Father, one Son, one Holy Spirit, and it's all about relationship, so it's like receiving God's love to be able to then in turn share that love with other people.
Yes.
And if you take the story of Christ at face value, and I fully believe it to be true, it's like, that it shows complete and pure love, that Jesus came and lived a perfect life, that he went through all of the things that we went through, And he was persecuted for his beliefs ultimately, and even to death. So he died on the cross, and then he was buried, and he rose again. And conquered death, and I mean, it's like that's changed my life forever. And like I finally know what it means to like receive God's love and be able to love myself, as you talked about, and then to be able to go and like, hey, like, I can live my life in a way that's bigger than myself. It's like I can live it for God's glory, and
Mhm.
I can do things like with like truly like a altruistic like reasoning behind it. It's like, man, like I hope this business is fruitful, but I don't have to make money.
Yeah.
Like as long as I can build relationships with people and like, talk about Jesus and talk about love, like I'm content with that.
Hmm. Yeah. 100%. I love that.
Um, so tell me a little bit more about your friends and family, and what do you look for in friends and family? Like, what are those things that really draw you closer to people?
Yeah, this is a good question because honestly, it's something that I'm really paying close attention to. Um, I think values kind of are important to me. Um, so, like the values of like love, connection, growth, and like contribution. I like to have very intellectual conversations. I
Hmm.
starting to really enjoy like having good conversations about controversial issues and how can we actually make a difference in this world, and all this type of stuff. So I really enjoy being around people that are open to having tough conversations sometimes and being open to different perspectives, because I think that's the only way that we're really going to learn. And I've been just seeing that like the values are like a very important area when I'm connecting with people. It's like if we are in line with like love and connection, then we are going to respect one another's opinion as opposed to maybe um, judgment or anything lower frequency that might cause conflict.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would say like not all conflict is bad. It's like,
Agreed.
but I think it's how you go about those tough conversations that makes all the difference, and results in like a good or bad outcome.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
So I think you kind of touched on just kind of how you kind of got into real estate. So what are some of your personal goals and development, and things that you want to just really work towards?
Yeah, personal goals and development. I definitely think staying on this path, like continuing to check in, be aware of my patterns because I think it's a consistent journey. You're always growing, you're always learning. Um, and then like in terms of goals, I definitely have a goal right now with this like, we're both in the Raise Masters community, so I'm like on my path of like starting my business down this road of like raising capital for real estate deals. And my goal with that is like to make an impact and like to educate people and to give them a solution to like a very specific problem that may be in their life. If it's financial, okay, like alternative investment solutions, that's obvious, but also I think it goes a little bit deeper. um, we're kind of along the same lines of like creating a solution to something like I'm very interested in like nutrient density within like farms or even in the
Mm.
forests. Like we had like this is why I love intellectual conversations because you learn so much and you see so many opportunities. We have a conversation this past weekend about carbon credits and that whole world,
Okay.
rabbit hole in and of itself. But like
Yeah.
actually like use the system that's been created. I know that there is controversy like in the world about it, but you can use that system to actually pay it forward and use the credits to buy more land that you can then turn into conservation, create more credits and buy more land.
Mm.
Or, like even we were talking about flipping a lumber field. You could take a
Yeah, I've
lumber.
looked into that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, what was your version of flipping? Because I'm curious.
So not so much flipping, I guess, as far as just like buying property that produces lumber and then like selling the trees, I guess. But I didn't get into it too much. I'm just trying to focus on one thing at a time.
Well, you ever do get into it, there is ways that you can actually, like right now, like a lot of the lumber, at least on the Eastern hemisphere, because it was all kind of cut down at one point, turned into farmland, and now like kind of was let to regrow again. So the soil's a little nutrient deplete. It's a whole world of nutrient density. And so like essentially if you look into this and you add the minerals to make the soil more nutrient dense, and also maybe add in some species variation where there's like a lot of like kind of shrubbery and stuff. The
Okay.
shrubbery help with potentially, I haven't researched this, but potentially like forest fires where like the shrubbery will burn quickly and then it won't allow the trees to catch fire. But the nutrient density will allow you to produce like stronger, thicker, faster growing trees so that you can yeah, just increase the efficiency of your
Right.
lumber field and then allow for you know, you can kind of create more carbon credits just by doing those couple things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that sounds awesome. I mean, that's one step for the planet, you know.
Yeah.
Um, let's go buy a forest.
I know. I'm
Uh,
like, this is like, I see so much opportunity in this.
yeah. All right. So we're gonna take a few steps back and we're gonna shine the spotlight on you for a second. Just kind of hype you up and then give you an opportunity to really hype up any other people or things that you're passionate about. So what content do you have to check out every day?
Oh, honestly, I have my podcasts. I got like a whole thing of podcasts, and I'm
Okay.
also development and Rotan, so I have some Honduran podcasts too. But I
Nice.
think staying in tune with global affairs and what's happening in the world and kind of different views and perspectives that everyone has is kind of important to kind of keep your head on straight.
Definitely. What would on that topic, what would be like a podcast that you would recommend for the us English speakers only?
Oh man. Well, I will say my podcasts in Honduras are not Spanish. I'm not that good.
Okay.
Uh, Let me see. There's like an economics one that I really enjoy. Let me see if they can come up quickly. Well, also I do really love the Mind Valley podcast. That's a fantastic podcast for like helping you shift your brain. I do like the Economist,
Okay.
the Intelligence. It's like the same name. And obviously cash flow connections.
Nice. You gotta love that one. I was just listening to that one before we got on.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you want people to know about you, Melissa Darling?
Hmm. That's a good question. It's hard. That's a hard one.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that I want to make a difference, I guess, and that I don't want to just be another, you know, real estate investing person. I want to actually like pay it forward in whatever ways I can. I think that there can when you are able to gather and get people inspired towards a specific goal or you know whatever it might be, I think there's a lot of power in that. And I think if you're also having the capital to do so, you can really create some significant change.
Definitely. Yes, ma'am. So what are some of your best skills and areas of expertise?
Ugh, my best skills, definitely just floating through the woods and pointing out the beautiful things.
Okay. Love that. Love it.
That could be an analogy for life too. Like I am pretty good at like always being positive, optimistic, trying to find the solution. I don't really get bogged down too frequently.
That's good. That's definitely a gift. I battle with that sometimes, but we're working on it. We're working on it. So just got a couple more questions. So, part of this podcast is like I want to shine the spotlight on other people, and I want to create, just an environment where there's a group of people that are inspired and inspiring other people. And it's like, hey, like you hear this person talking on the podcast, you're like, oh, like I want to do that too. Like let's get connected. Or they need to get connected with a lawyer, or an attorney or somebody like that. It's like, I know a guy. So that's part of this. And so, what are some things that you need, some things that you're looking for, that you think could help you grow, whether it's with business or otherwise?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you ask because I literally identified this mind block today. It's literally the marketing piece for my business, like anything and everything marketing. I have a very strong vision and I'm very passionate about that vision, but I don't know, like for me, the minutia, I get really caught up in it for
Mm-hmm.
like, figuring out like, oh, how should I word this one sentence on my marketing post, like, uh, so I think anyone who's kind of resonating, I guess, with the things that I'm saying and wants to potentially connect in regards to the whole marketing side of business, including like website build out, podcasting, social media, YouTube, all the things, email
For sure.
marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got some guys. I'll hook you up after this.
Oh, fantastic.
Get you all in contact with each other. Okay. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about your passions. Is there anything else that you're passionate about? And then is there any groups or people or causes that you'd like to just hype up and let the people know about?
Oh, well, that's interesting. Um, well, honestly, the things that I'm passionate about are honestly self-development, self-love, and then obviously giving love to others, um, and encouraging people through that journey. I think it is a journey. And then also now getting super into like creating change and doing things like that. Those are like the two things I'm super passionate about. Um, in terms of organizations and things like that, well, I guess I'll say the Good Food Farm. If
Okay.
you're in Massachusetts, I live on a farm right now called the Good Food Farm, and they are actually focusing on nutrient density. Um, so this is their first year doing a CSA, and they have a farmer and some woofers and all that. But I think good things will be coming from this farm soon. So I'll shoot them a little shout out.
Awesome. Very cool. So just a joking question real quick to hype myself up. What do you have anything good to say about me?
Oh yeah. I mean, on our first conversation, you ended it with this like beautiful prayer of just exposing vulnerability through love. And I thought that was just the most beautiful thing, to hear, because I didn't get to see you, but to hear you express, and I could feel it through the phone, like to a complete stranger. And I was just like, I couldn't even say anything to you because I was just like, wow, like that was just so amazing for me to feel and experience that. I'm super grateful. I'm grateful to have had that experience with you.
Mhm. Yes,
And it's
ma'am.
like a
Well,
feeling based thing, I can't express it fully, but I could feel from the inside of my heart that you're just a true and altruistic person. So I really appreciate that.
yes, ma'am. Well, I will shine the spotlight on God for that one. That was God's love that you felt. So how can people connect with you if they want to get in touch?
Yeah. I don't have a full like functioning website or anything right now, so it'll just be probably email or Facebook. I can be reached on Facebook at Melissa Real Estate,
Okay.
or email is just info@humblehomesre as in realestate.com.
For sure. Yeah, we'll have both of those links on. Are you on LinkedIn right now?
Oh, I definitely am not checking my links. In fact,
Okay.
that will be up and running, give me like a month or two on that
Okay.
one.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll get that live and we can have that on there as well.
Oh yeah,
So,
you can link it. It's totally fine. I'll get to it eventually.
okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa. Enjoyed it a whole lot.
I super appreciate it, William.
All right. Bye.
All right.